can just use the regular microphone, but just want to make sure I welcomed you. Oh, we need to make sure everyone is. Jessica, can you hear me now?
Yep, we're good.
Yes? Okay. And Richard, can you hear?
Yep, I can hear you.
Thank you, Richard. All right, so.
Good evening, everyone. I'm calling this Newington Board of Education meeting to order. It is Wednesday, September 13th, 2023. The time now is 7:00 p.m. Please rise as you are able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag of the United States of America.
and to the republic for which it stands. And if you would please call the roll.
Michael Branda,
Here.
Dr. Bruce Fletcher,
Present.
Danielle Droz,
Present.
Beth Mackey Hepagner,
Here.
Richard LaVerriere,
Present.
Amy Parati,
Here.
Sam Sharma, Jessica Weaver,
Here.
Anastasia Yap, I have Mr. Sharma and Ms. Yacht marked absent.
Okay, very good. So the next thing we'll do is we'll go into agenda item B, the presentation of awards and proclamations. And tonight it'll be a resolution honoring the Newington Information and Educational Technology Professionals. Looked like somebody glued it down. All right. So Craig Holland is here in person, and I know Jay Salerno is online with us. So whereas Wednesday, September 13th, 2023 has been proclaimed as Information and Educational Technology Appreciation Day, and whereas the Newington Public School System is committed to honoring its information and educational technology professionals and recognizing their contributions to the educational system, and whereas the information and educational technology professionals are well qualified and dedicated to their craft by refreshing their skills to keep pace with the rapid evolution of technology, and whereas the information and educational technology professionals help students to use technology safely and prepare them for the demands of the changing global society and workplaces, and whereas the information and educational technology professionals' commitment to providing excellence in contemporary technology services and solutions that ensure and enhance the learning process is exemplary. And whereas it is the desire of the Board of Education that the information and educational technology professionals should be made aware of their appreciation. We do hereby proclaim Wednesday, September 13th, 2023 as Newington Informational and Educational Technology Appreciation Day. Therefore, be it resolved that we urge all of the citizens of our community to join with us in actively expressing gratitude to our information and educational technology professionals who represent an investment in excellence in our community. Be it further resolved that the Secretary of the Newington Board of Education is directed to spread this resolution upon the minutes of this meeting and to provide a suitable copy to the Directors of Information and Educational Technology.
Good.
All right, and so we have Craig Holland.
And Craig, you want to bring up other members of your team?
Yeah.
Come on up. Come on up and we'll get a picture of you with your acknowledgement. Jay, you'll have to just acknowledge from afar.
I can Photoshop myself in.
That's true. He's got the technology. Yep, thank you for all that you do, gentlemen.
There you go. Oh, goodness.
Always flying around the district.
Thank you so very much. It's always an honor to be recognized for the contributions that we make as a team to teaching and learning here in Newington. So thank you all so very much. Thank you.
Any of your colleagues like to say a few words?
You're in it for the recognition.
That's fine. Let me take a group photo for perhaps the website.
Space for Jay.
He's gonna have to work his own magic.
Put him in really short right here. About 3 feet.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. All right.
I was going to bring you cookies, but I figured you'd delete them.
Yeah, joke alert.
I'm using that.
I'm back in the.
Now I'm wondering when he came up with it. Did he show up?
Jay online, does he want to say anything?
Dr. Fletcher and the board and Maureen, thank you very much on behalf of the educational technology side. It's a pleasure to work in conjunction with IT. And we have a great relationship with them.
Thank you very much. Board members, would you like to make comments? We'll begin here.
First. Thank you for all you do. I know you guys are behind the scenes. I know that everything that you do helps the teachers and helps the students. And so, although you're not like in the limelight like teachers, like you absolutely are a crucial part of the students' day. So thank you.
Ms. Parati?
Yes, thank you for everything, Craig, especially for dealing with this room bi-weekly basis. But yeah, obviously Newington has one-to-one Chromebooks and it's a fantastic investment in our students. My kids use them every single day. So thank you for keeping them running and everything else, because all the networking and everything that needs to be done. I don't even know what it is, but you do it and it works, and thank you very much.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Branda.
Kind of wondering if we should wait until this meeting finishes without any problems. But I guess just saying, it's kind of a struggle, but it's not your struggle. I know you get us through it. No, but I think one of the things too, in terms of just behind the scenes that doesn't get talked about a ton is also being on call when everything goes wrong inside of a classroom, inside of a building, whatever it is. And just the fact that an entire day can come to a halt if you and your team are not on call, ready to fix a problem that either an experienced teacher or a new teacher is going through. And also all the training that has to happen. I love, but I hate the fact that we get those emails with all the threats, because then I'm like, oh no, something's going on. And Craig and Jay are alerting the world that this big mega email virus is going out. And I always read all those, because then I think like it's coming to my workplace and you guys are at the forefront of it. So I really do appreciate all of that stuff too. It's just like a side note. I just love your emails, and they're always urgent too, because it's like if you click a link, it's game over for the district basically. So just thank you to you and your entire team. You guys do a lot of hard work and a lot of work that needs to get done to help our teachers and help our students. So thank you very much.
I feel like so much has already been said, but just wanted to highlight, I think Mr. Mayor said the being on call thing. I think as a teacher myself, like that's really important, because so much of what we do now, especially in our post-COVID world, it does have to do with that smart board being on and guiding our students and the computers or devices that are in front of them. So thank you for making it all happen, making it seem seamless, and also for inspiring some of the kiddos sitting there to follow in your footsteps or other types of really cool information technology careers. So while you may feel like you're behind, there are kids who are staring right at you wanting to be you someday. So thank you.
All right, Jessica Weaver.
Yeah, thank you for making this possible. I've never done it this way, so thank you to Craig and Jay and the whole team. And just to point out that, you know, this has been such a long journey. We started way back when, and you guys, I think both were celebrating some anniversaries at Convocation. I saw some awards there. And just want to say thank you for getting us to the one-to-one, even before all of the COVID madness, and now getting us through that madness and continuing on as we see just more and more demands from our teachers, from our students, the need for technology and the need for it to be seamless, quick, and fast. I don't know how you do it every day. My blood pressure would be through the roof every time. It is when I just like see a mic go off in our room. So just thank you for always being incredibly accessible, incredibly gracious with the lack of patience some of us have with technology. So you truly are our favorite IT people in the world. So thank you so much. Obviously deserving of this word. And kudos to the entire team as well that's not here.
Thank you. And Anastasia Yap.
Hi. I want to say thank you so much for everything you do. Like everyone's already said, you know, technology is always evolving and you're always at the forefront. You know, I know when I had issues with my computer, I, you know, can just reach out to you, and you have, you know, a really big job. And I'm very thankful that we have you guys, and thank you for everything.
All right. So I have a technical question for you. Approximately how many devices are connected on any given day?
Nearly 3,000. On any given day.
So about 3,000 per day. And how many people work in IT?
We have 6 full-time staff. A few interns that are here part of the course of each day that groups me. So
Yeah.
Big task, yeah.
Yeah, I asked that question because I don't think a lot of people understand the magnitude of the responsibilities that your department has. Mr. Leverrier?
Thanks, Dr. Fletcher. Yeah, IT brings everyone together, and we couldn't operate as a school without you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's give them a hand, everyone. All right, so now we are going to move on to agenda item C, which is public participation on any matter related to board responsibilities. If you're here in person and you wish to share, and you'll go to the end of the table, state your name and the street that you live on. You can call in. The phone number is 860-665-8659. Or if you are online, raise your hand and I will acknowledge you. And we do limit public participation to 3 minutes. So we have somebody at the head of the table. If you want to state your name and the street you're on, and you can go ahead.
How you doing? My name is Andrick Santos. I live on 171 Hartford Avenue. I'm here because I'm having a little situation where I'm having an issue with my child and the school bus, taking the school bus. So I live per Google, which you use Google Classroom, Google's used for everything. I live 1.8 miles away. Per the Newington website, the tax website, if you do it on the GIS, which is Geographic Information System, we're 1.77 miles away. When I appealed it, because it wasn't, when I called, they said my son was a walker. I appealed it, and Dr. Brummett rejected it, stated that she was not accepting my appeal. And I told her that I would like for a remeasurement. So she had Mr. Dean walk it, supposedly with his rolling walking stick, which I'm not sure how accurate a rolling walking stick could be. A lot of variables could throw that off. According to him, he walked from my house to the school, and it was 1.67 miles on his walking stick, and it took him 36 minutes. Per the message that I received from Dr. Brummett, she stated a healthy high school kid is expected to walk that in 30 minutes. Now we have to factor in there's weather, inclement weather, there's snow, there's cold, so we want kids walking 30, let's say it's 30 minutes. You want kids walking 30 minutes in 5-degree weather on the days that it's 5 degrees. I don't think that's acceptable. And with that being said, I had another child that went to Newington High School. She bused to school, and according to the Dr. Brummett, she was a walker, which she was not. Because I know when she first started, I guess they had her as a walker. My wife called, they said, no, she's fine. She could take the bus, so she took the bus. The school bus is I live on 171 Hartford Avenue. The school bus is at 167 Hartford Avenue, which is directly across the street from my house. I have some documentation. I'll give it to the board before I leave. It's 30 feet away from my house. You walk outside, walk 30 feet, school bus is right there. My son has friends that take the bus. There's always available seats on the bus. So he could definitely fit on the bus. It won't cost the city anything. As far as other stuff, within a mile radius, there's 6 registered sex offenders and with a mile radius from my address. There's one around the corner, there's one directly on the walking route to school, and then up the street from that, there's like another one, not directly on the route, but a couple blocks away. I don't think it's safe, and considering there's a school bus that's 30 feet away from that has availability and costs the city nothing, I don't think my child should have to stress over how he's gonna get to school, whether who's gonna drop him off or pick him up. He's pretty robotic, and at that point, I feel if it costs the city nothing, the bus is right across the street from my house, 30 feet away. Why can't he just take the bus? I need some assistance from the board, whoever can help me with that. But I don't think it's okay that the bus is 30 feet away. I'm 1.8 miles per Google, 1.77 per the GIS of the city, and my child can't take the bus when the requirements are 1.75 per Newington school. As far as that's all I have as of now. I appreciate you all for listening, and I'll appreciate your help. So will my son, my family. I have some documentation I'll give for the board members now if you take it, please. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Did you do one for each other? Oh, wow, okay, yeah, so there's 4 of us, 5 is here. Yeah.
Make sure the folks online get a copy.
Yeah, we'll get them out a little for you.
All right, is there anyone else in the room that wishes to participate?
Kathy Gonzalez, 44 Basswood Street. I have a question and then I have something else I want to talk about. My question is, and I don't think you guys can answer, I'm not sure how you give an answer back, but I'm wondering why the high school roof is leaking on days like today when it rains. I may be wrong, but I believe there was a huge roof fix. I don't know if it was the entire roof or only certain parts of the roof, but if it's the new area that's leaking, I mean, that's a problem in itself. And if it's an old area that's leaking, I can't imagine that it was looked at a few months ago and deemed okay, and now there's issues. We have a habit of kicking things down the curb here in Newington, and then it ends up costing us much more. So just wondering what's going on with that before I make any assumptions. I'd just like to have some answers. And the second thing I wanted to say was that I just wanted to thank the Newington school system for an amazing job that they do. I have 3 kids. One has graduated and 2 are still in the high school. And unfortunately, all 3 of them have had different issues or, things going on. And without getting into details, especially the high school, Laura Sharmett, social worker, or clinician really, counselor. And Mario Figicelli, absolutely amazing. And Leanne Gaffney. I don't think that they're recognized enough. You hear a lot of negative things about the school system. I have nothing but positive things to say. And they literally helped to keep one of my children physically alive and alive with his schoolwork, his education. And I just want to thank the Board of Education too. I've gotten involved recently, and it's incredible the amount of time that you are volunteering to put into this. And I don't think you guys are appreciated enough, along with our school staff and Dr. Brummett. So I just really wanted to say thank you. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you very much. And we will get some answers to that question and get back to you. Is there anyone else in the room?
Thank you. Sean Holleran, 35 Florence Street. Less of a question. Kathy kind of beat me to the punch about the leaky roof. So she stole my thunder a little bit there. I did go to the John Wallace PAC meeting last night, and there was a Newington resident who was concerned about how much our nurses are allocated in the budget. He says he had to donate a lot. His younger son, or his younger brother, is a type 2 diabetic. We were going through some of the budget items, and a lot of it is extra stuff for clothes and stuff like that. But the main budget for the nurse comes from the BOE. It comes in the school budget. So I know we're ways off from that too, but just kind of want to put it on the radar, as he couldn't be here tonight, so I'm speaking for him. But I think the main reason I'm here is that more of a token of appreciation. I know a lot of people on the board are ending their tenure coming up soon. And I just wanted to show my appreciation for the hard work and the fights you've had to fight. I attended one meeting where Dr. Fletcher had said something to some high school students about leadership. And he said something, I'm paraphrasing, along the lines that leadership isn't necessarily a skill that can be taught and developed. It's more along the lines of an ability that needs to be cultivated. And I think that cultivation happens by making hard decisions, looking at things in a pragmatic, logical way, and making sure that the best of all is what comes out of that conflict, what comes out of that discussion. That's compromise. That's how things happen. And I think for most of the members here, that has happened in a very bipartisan way. In a way that we have had to fight some battles to do the best for our schools. And I think when I think about the words that Dr. Fletcher said about leadership, you have shown that in spades. And thank you.
Thank you. No one online? Anyone else in the room? Okay. No phone calls, no one else online, no one else in the room. We are now going to move on to agenda item D, our standing committee information item. And the one thing that we have on there tonight are our student reps. So ladies, I'm going to let you take it over.
Hello.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Maggie Woods. I was last year's Junior Board of Ed rep, but this year I am Student Council President, and I'm just filling in for one of our reps tonight. But I would like to introduce one of our new reps, Isabella Longo, who is a junior class member at Newington High School and is a member of Stuco here to represent for the Board of Education.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's very nice to meet you all. First off, I just want to start off with what music and arts are up to. Chamber has started working on their play, which is The Very Unmerry Adventures of Robin Hood. And the play is performed during their dinner theater fundraiser coming up in the fall. And also play auditions for the school have started this week, and the play is Shakespeare in Love, and they're still being decided.
For sports, as some of you may already know, there is a home football game tomorrow. The theme is red, white, and blue in dedication to the first responders in our town and community. And the school store is actually selling some merch, but I'll get to that after. Field hockey is hosting a car wash this Saturday from 9 to 1 at the fire department on Main Street. And boys and girls soccer won their first games this week, and both have games against Rocky Hill tomorrow.
We had our open house last Thursday and welcomed families to meet their children's teachers and walk their schedules. The culinary students prepared food for the families, and Honor Society students helped the families find their way around. We have a college funding workshop at 6 on the 20th, and it is virtual. Our first theme Thursday is the 21st and is tie-dye themed. And we have a involvement fair on the 28th, which gives opportunity for freshmen and new students to learn about all the available clubs in our school.
Some of those clubs I will talk about next. So DECA is one of our business clubs, and they run the school store. DECA is actually selling red, white, and blue spirit wear. We have Newington High School red, white, and blue t-shirts for $10 and sweatshirts for $25 available at the school store. For students and staff to buy, as well as families if they want to do an order online. Student Council is currently working on getting our planning and meeting set for September with our class officers. We are also planning a pep rally and homecoming for later this fall. In addition, we are currently working on increasing school spirit, especially with our student section at football games. We've started a new position this year where we've selected 3 student leaders for the student section, 2 seniors and a junior, who are really there to help organize the student section and connect them with the band leaders, the cheer captain, and student council so that everything runs really smoothly. And so we have very high hopes and are looking forward to that tomorrow. And many of our clubs also had their first meetings this week. Oh, and then Adventure Club, Gender Sexuality Alliance, Health Occupation Students of America, which is HOSA, Crochet Club, Latin Club, and Key Club were some of those clubs. FBLA, which stands for Future Business Leaders of America, had their first meeting this week as well and are currently working on getting everything ready for their leadership convention in November. Next week, Women in Leadership, Trivia Club, Book Club, and Robotics Club are all meeting as well. They have many different clubs this year that students can choose from starting to sign up with, especially at that involvement fair. And also Book Club is reading In the Wild Light by Jeff Zenter at their first meeting.
Lastly, for our academics, English Honor Society has their their induction on the 18th at 3:30. And that's what is happening right now. Everything's starting up and there hasn't been that many sports games because of all the rain. So, but thank you guys.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have any questions or comments? Go ahead.
My quick comment is I love the involvement fair. I think that's great, especially for the freshmen, because I think obviously you can agree, you're both sitting here, but being involved in something during your high school experience just makes it that much more fulfilling and helps you create kind of little families everywhere you go. And then my one just suggestion comment is throughout the year, I think it's also great to hear what's happening at our middle schools and at the elementary schools too, because I think all of the schools in Newington are just doing some really, really amazing, wonderful things that are great to broadcast and let everybody know about. And nice to meet you and welcome.
And Ms. Drost?
I want to say welcome. I remember you when you were this big at CTC, so it's so awesome to see you grown up in a leadership role. So good luck with your role here. I'm sure the new board will love having you. And it was a great treat to see our Miss Maggie one more time, who I just do need a little shout out. Everyone see her article, and she's so congratulations, Maggie.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
Yeah, just thank you so much for coming tonight. Maggie, it's great to see you, and Bella, welcome to the table. Looking forward to future updates from you and Megan when she can come. Thanks.
All right, online, Jessica Weaver.
Trying to time this with the airport announcements here. So greetings from Chicago. I'll be in Connecticut soon. But welcome, Isabella and Maggie. So good to see you. Thank you for starting us off right for this year. Absolutely love that you're a part of our board and sitting at the board table. And just super excited to hear more of the updates. Super excited to hear about Shakespeare and Love. Very excited. So thanks for your updates and looking forward to all your updates to come.
All right. Anyone else? Go ahead, Dr. Brumman.
Well, I just want to welcome Bella's dad, who's there to cheer her on, and Miss Batista, our new Stuco faculty advisor, here to cheer on her and some members of Stuco. So we're pleased to have you here, and you've been an asset to the Board of Education.
Thank you and welcome. I'm glad to have you. All right, we do have a report from the Curriculum Committee.
Okay, good evening. The curriculum committee met this evening with some updates to put out there. One is that there is a state mandate right now that a financial literacy class be part of a graduation requirement for the class of 2027, meaning our current freshmen. So just some updates on how we are going about that. So currently there are 2 classes, financial planning and principles of finance, that are already in place for our students who are really on that business kind of direction and path. And taking both of those classes would fulfill that credit. Additionally, they our curriculum planning is putting together how this class would run. The financial literacy class, they are looking how to make best use of the current staff. It would be about a 1.4 full-time educator to run it. First looking, like I said, at our existing staff and kind of reallocating how that would work, but need to look at how that would also affect other sections of electives that are currently running. They might also partner with some community colleges to tweak classes so that one of those classes might also help to meet the requirement. But all in all, it looks like things are really quickly moving to make this happen. It really all comes down to moving things around and reallocating so that we have the correct staff to run this program. Additionally, there's another graduation requirement. We had the requirement for credits was about 21 minimum for graduation. It is now up to 25. Most students have far more than that when they graduate. This is a minimum. And there are some things that were kind of put into place to help some students who need that final credit. And so students may get credit for community service, for having the seal of biliteracy, that's a 0.5 credit, or for doing something called mastery of learning outside of Newington High School, which would be something like an accelerated music enrichment camp, an 8-week program, all of which there's parameters in place and paperwork that needs to be filled out, but it's just to kind of give that one more credit that perhaps some of our kiddos might need, or to just continue to add credits for the students who have far more than the 25. And there will be future updates coming on our SEL counselor who started this year. It's really a wonderful thing. I guess those updates will be coming to the board. Our new counselor, though, has so far helped some of our students that are returning to school after a suspension or expulsion. She has also developed groups running within the school and developed a course on mental health awareness and substance abuse, and has, of course, open office hours to service students within the school. And it's been a really, really good addition for our students that this was put into place. Those are my updates. Amy, or if I missed anything, Wendy, I'm sorry if I spoke quickly.
I have two questions. One, is that counselor the one that got hired with the grant?
Yes.
Okay.
And Miss
It's Redmond's
Redmond was
grant,
the one
but,
who
yep.
did that. I just want to give her like credit where credit's due. She did all the work to make that grant happen and help this position come to light.
Awesome. My second question is for Dr. Brummett. It just popped into my head. If we give credit for mastery outside of school, is there any way to alleviate some budgetary, I know there was like adding more physical education. Can kids who do sports get credit for doing sports? And I don't know what the state mandate is, but like, I'm thinking like kids who are running, I see the kids running for 800 miles across country. They do way more exercise than I ever did in physical education class.
We did contemplate that when we looked at credits for when the revised credit requirements came through, and opted not to include sports as credit bearing. I'd have to refresh my memory as to why, but I think there was a concern about how to account for that. But I will get back to you on that one. The other area that we are allowing kids to get credit for is work study. So if they have a job and they submit their pay stubs, they can get credit for that. And that does help some kids who are in need of backfilling of credits. And I believe our internships, when done, even some of the work kids do through our broadcasting club, can transmit into credits. I don't know if Wendy or Steve wanted to add to that. But I will get back there. I know we talked about sports and there was a good reason why we didn't include it, but it's escaping me because that was about 1.5 years ago.
Special sign language going on there. Any other questions? Okay, so we're now going to move to agenda item E, which is our new business. And first up is going to be the school opening report. Dr. Brummett.
Thank you, Dr. Fletcher. I won't read this whole report because I know the board can peruse it, and a lot of it has already been included in my update from last week or from the first week of school. But we really had a very smooth opening. There is a really positive vibe this year. It feels like COVID's finally in the rearview mirror as far as impact. And certainly with the addition of our mental health counselor at the high school, we're feeling really positive about that. So we did get off to a great start. Things have been going along very smoothly. For those that were able to attend convocation, that was also extremely positive. And I'm going to get into a few more updates in a minute, but suffice it to say, we are off to a great start. The enrollment summary on that page is a snapshot. I don't believe our enrollment is that low at this time. We've had a meeting about this today at central office that sometimes Power School isn't uploaded to the point where this is accurate. And again, this is a snapshot of one day. So we'll continue to keep the board posted about enrollment, but that is my very brief synopsis of that memo, with more updates to come in a couple more agenda items. Any questions? Keep going. All right, it is required that annually we do provide the board a report of any gifts provided under $500. So the report or the memo in your file illuminates that. I think you'll note that virtually all those donations come straight from our PTOs or PACs, which is greatly appreciated. And later on this year, we'll honor our PAC PTO leadership as we always do. It looks like we had a few private donations come into the high school from particular families, but I would say by and large, you can see that our PTOs, PTAs, and PACs are really the major source of things that get into our classrooms, special events, and honorariums for teachers on various teacher appreciation days. So Again, you can read that at your leisure and let me know if you have any questions.
Go ahead, Ms. Jones.
Are booster clubs exempt from this? Like music boosters or?
If they get a private donation? This is a donation that comes back to the school. So I think that goes straight to sports. I don't know if Lou wants to comment on that.
I'm sorry, I'm speaking softly. I've never been told that before. My question is like, so is this just monetary or is this like actual, like, I'm looking at like someone didn't donate $169.29. The PTO, I assume gave, I don't know, like, what am I actually looking at? Like bought something for
How they
100
allocated their resources for school or teacher benefit.
Right,
So that's why it's an
my
odd
question
number.
was like the booster clubs, are they exempt from reporting donations? So like if a booster club, like if the music booster club paid for a new trombone, which would be more than $500, I'm aware of that. They're like, they're a lot, but like, would they have to report that?
The donations typically do not come to the Board of Ed. The booster clubs will acquire things based on the interaction between the athletic director, the coach of the certain sport that's there, and they will pay for it on their behalf. So they don't never turn the money over to us. They go out and acquire whatever is needed outside of that. So it doesn't get reported from that standpoint. Any other questions? Okay.
I thought historically, the board has asked about how we spent our summer and what types of facility updates, or I also added some programmatic updates, just because I think it's important for the board to be fully versed in what's going on. So I'll start with our new programs, and these are just a snapshot. We have, our Welcome Center has gotten, we opened it up softly last year, but this summer it really blossomed. And it's run by one of our special education teachers, Maria, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting. Morse, thank you. She has been redesigning our website, developing pamphlets, and she's helped well over 28 families over the course of the summer. And these are families that have higher needs, such as folks that are coming in from foreign countries, folks that are experiencing maybe some financial hardships. And she has been invaluable in getting them not only connected to the school system, which is very important, but we also collaborate with our human services offices. So that's really gotten very robust, and now she's our go-to person to make sure our families get in. And the other real positive to that is sometimes when kids came in with second language learning issues, it didn't always come to light right away. With her on board, we're making sure and we catch those kids immediately. So it's been a huge asset, and she only has to put in a few hours a week. Her busy times are summer and periodically throughout the school year, and she works hand in glove with Cindy Soto, who's our residency and enrollment office professional. Below Maria is Christina Redmond, who's already been mentioned. She worked diligently to submit 2 grants. The first one was not funded, the second one was. We now have that position for the next 3 years. And that has allowed her to, and she's been getting a lot of support from Kristen Freeman, to start a class on how to support your mental health as a high school student. The board probably recalls a presentation she did last year with the survey results that were very concerning to board members about student anxiety, depression, and she's very passionate about all those topics. I don't know if you caught the Channel 8 feature, but that was another way that we shared out about the grant activities. So she's off and running, and this will become, it's evolving with the curriculum and those things, but she will be an integral support person too for any of our students that may make poor choices around marijuana vaping on school property. She will work with them about making better choices, among a multitude of other things. So I think in many ways, she will really support our students in a new and exciting way. And then another outstanding development is our full day, full week pre-K at Green and Chafee. You see below a little circle time at the Ruth Chafee pre-K during the first week of school. We have both school classrooms are full with a waiting list. And though we're still getting into the swing of things and having a full day program, the kids are doing great and they have some really nice opportunities. And I'm excited about this, especially as many of our board members have heard. Next year, the kindergarten eligibility age goes from you need to be 5 by January 1st of your kindergarten year. Now you have to be eligible by September 1st of your kindergarten year. So having more opportunities in pre-K is essential. And in case the board gets any questions, the law does provide for a parent to petition that they might want to have that reconsidered, say the birthday of their child is September 2nd. In that case, we will work with the state. They're developing some guidelines on that, and we'll be having a committee to deal with that.
Is it okay to ask a question about that? Oh, sorry. Is it okay to ask a question? Okay, thank you. Just because I've gotten this question a few times, and I have it myself. Due to this law going forward, do you expect, and I guess Mr. Freese, this is for you as well, there to be a smaller group of students coming into kindergarten next year? Therefore, will that affect our staffing needs or not? You know what I mean?
Great question, and I'll start, and Mr. Freese can interject as well. Yes, we anticipate that about a third of our incoming kindergarteners for next year will not meet the age requirement. Now, that being said, some will petition and successfully enroll. We will then consider multitude of issues which we're still in the infancy stages of developing, but would that mean we open up more pre-K opportunities next year? Will we, if it's an elementary retirement next year, will we not replace that person because we don't need as many kindergarten teachers? The issue will be, though, the following year, it'll catch up to itself. But next year will be interesting, and districts around the state are grappling with how to manage that 1 year dip in students coming into kindergarten. And again, not knowing what that appeal process will look like, and they talk about a test, but we've not really heard anything about what that might look like. But we expect to convene a committee with representation from elementary stakeholders to really talk about what that would look like for Newington with the state guidelines in mind. I don't know if, Steve, you want to add anything to that.
Can I just follow up? So then that really would be then for the next 12 years that we see the effects.
That group of kids that'll be a small cohort, notwithstanding kids that move in. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting development. We would have liked 1 more year to plan, but that was not to be. So we will, as we do with all new mandates, deal with it internally. But yes, there'll be staffing implications, there'll be pre-K implications, there'll be a protocol for exemptions implications. And we will absolutely, and we really want to do it sooner than later because we know parents, I've already had at least 2 parents reach out to me who are incoming kindergartners for the fall or would like to be with September birthdays. So we need to get that done sooner than later because it is going to be on the minds of many parents.
Okay, online, Mr. Leverrier.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused because at first I heard that there was guidelines and then I heard that there was mandates. What happens if the district just hypothetically doesn't want to do what the state wants? Is there like a penalty or something? Like if they just want to like stick with the way it used to be?
The ultimate penalty that the state can impart upon a school district is to reduce the ECS funding. I wouldn't want to risk that. Or I don't know, that would really be it, or come in and tell us we've got to do what we've got to do. So the mandate is that the kindergarten eligibility age has changed. And I didn't mention this earlier. We are actually an outlier in the nation. We are the latest, we have the youngest kids starting kindergarten in the state of Connecticut. Many other states are, June 1st, June 30th, September 1st. So we were on the long side of that. So in many ways, it's a good thing so that kids come to school ready. Obviously, for parents impacted by this unexpectedly, there'll be some, issues and concerns. Where we're waiting on guidance for is how do we handle anyone that says, I want a waiver? My child's birthday is September 2nd. Much like we sometimes get now. My child's birthday is January 2nd. So we anticipate, though, far more waivers being asked for now with the change and the relative suddenness of it. So we have to follow the mandate. The guidance on how we go about waivers is going to be very interesting, and we don't have it yet.
So wait, so who makes who makes the decisions on the waiver, the town or the state?
The state will issue guidance on it, and I'm
Okay.
not sure whether they'll say every district has to issue this test. Testing 4-year-olds is a highly unreliable thing to do. Hopefully they'll allow us to create some guidelines such as, maybe a screening opportunity for kids who are in our pre-K. It seems like we would be able to make that assessment because we'll have had them for a year. But again, there'll still be a fair number of kids who we don't know yet who this applies to.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Brummett. I will probably have more questions, but no more right now. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No worries. I fully expect this will be an ongoing discussion before the board as the details unfold. So I can appreciate that it's a little muddy right now. All right.
Any other questions? All right, we're going to move on now to the update on the John Wallace Middle School project.
Oops, I have a few more facilities updates.
Is that?
I have a facilities updates, and then I'm going to switch over to Wallace. So it's,
Oh, okay, all right.
but I'll be very brief. So, and this will relate a little bit to what Lou's going to talk about. So in addition to the program updates, we have facilities updates. Our facilities department was working tirelessly all summer. Just want the board to know what was going on. We created some much needed sidewalk and entranceway repairs at Wallace. And there was also an enhancement to the bus loop area, which allows for much more safer bus loading and unloading. Lou will be talking about the John Wallace runout project before the voters on November 7th, so I will skip that. I'm sure you've all noticed the beautiful new NHS student parking lot. It was ready on time for the start of school. In fact, it was very helpful to have it ready for convocation. We had all teachers at the high school that day, and our band department is thrilled with the what this will do for our marching band practice. Another picture there before you where my cursor is a ramp for our courtyard at the high school. Last year, a student wrote a grant, and we were able to implement a outdoor classroom in the high school courtyard, but have been doing some upgrades to that, such as ADA compliance and some other surface fixes, but I wanted the board to see that we've made some gains there. And below is a picture of our inclusive bathroom at the high school. This bathroom would be a place where all students could go, regardless of their situation, and we just put a sign up today about the inclusive bathroom. You'll notice the doors are floor to ceiling, which provides for more privacy. However, we did install some vents because we wanted to make sure we had a way to promote safety if there were ever an incident in there. But there are 3 stalls, 2 are standard and 1 is ADA compliant, and not in the picture are the sinks, but I thought the most unique thing about the bathroom was the floor to ceiling doors. So this was an outgrowth of a recommendation from our equity club at the high school. District-wide, we have created Zen Zone for teachers. This was an outgrowth of our wellness work last year, led by Steve Farisi. We actually had some grant money come in at the end of the year that had to be spent. So we allocated it to every school. And this is just one example. This is John Patterson. Other schools have done similar things to their faculty workrooms. Some schools have actually got massage chairs for their Zen zones. So it looks a little different at every school, but this just gives teachers a place to go to, relax and feel valued. And I believe the teachers were very pleased to hear about that at convocation. We are moving toward flat panel screens as our other boards either fail or become beyond their useful life. So there's two different ways we do it, such as what you see here in the boardroom. That's a regular panel. It doesn't have touch features, but as you know, I'm projecting from my laptop over there. So it's all wireless, and it allows, if I were a teacher, it allows me to manipulate what I'm posting from wherever I am in the room. So I'm carrying my laptop around the room. and I can, project things on the run. In our elementary classrooms where it's required, there are also touch screens. So teachers are quite excited about it. We've got these even in rooms before that didn't have projectors, like speech therapy rooms or intervention rooms. So it really widens our instructional opportunities. We showed them at convocation, and everyone's, of course, wants to get one, but we're doing it in a obviously fiscally responsible way, slowly, and when we have the resources to do it.
Go ahead.
I just have a quick question on those screens and maybe this is for Lou. At Anna Reynolds, is that what is going into the classrooms? Yeah. Craig said yes. Okay.
They're already there.
Any other questions? Okay.
And then I couldn't resist but to put up a celebratory slide that Reynolds has one more year to go, and kudos to our facilities department, the Reynolds staff. They got that school ready, and in a matter of days, it went from pretty difficult to that sharp of a look. And I toured it with my several teachers the day of school starting, and there was a lot of upbeat excitement around the new color schemes and the newness of the rooms. As with any project, we had some of the AC and the temporary swing spaces wasn't up to par. They also had a leak because of these heavy rains, but again, that was in the old section, not the new. So overall, it's really going along well, and I know the building committee took a tour last week, and I heard that went very, very well. So we're on the home stretch. And it's going to be real exciting this time next year to be celebrating a completely done school. So thanks to all parties involved. And then just a general summary. I won't read all these, but we've done a lot of upgrades at Martin Kellogg. They were having some leaking into the main office. That's been redone to prevent that. The NHS track is being worked on. We're hoping it'll be done this fall, but with the weather, it could be, delayed. We put a new scoreboard in Newington High School, so if you go to the football game, you will see that. In the summer, we do a lot of recarpeting. This summer, it was NHS, Ruth Chafee and Patterson, Annie Green. We installed a security gate at Martin Kellogg. Last year, some citizen came through the schoolyard during the school day, so we thought maybe we ought to install a security gate, so we did. We had to revamp some ductless split units for air conditioning, a lot of just concrete benches and outdoor trims at Wallace, general painting, and we upgraded the Ruth Chafee outdoor kindergarten playground area, which also benefits pre-K. And again, more window blinds, which again is a safety and a lockdown asset. So this is just a snapshot. Obviously, much more went on, but these are some of the bigger projects. So I'll turn it back to the board chair for any questions.
Any questions from board members? Ms. Yop?
Hi, I just have a question. Thank you again for everything that you've done. I wanted to make that comment. I love to see improvements, and I love to see, all the things that the teachers like. I just have a question. I know that we're still waiting, and I don't know if you got an update yet in regards to the new possible curriculum, or if, ours was accepted by the state. Do we have any update on that in regards to, I remember it was as of next year, we may have to change it. And I was wondering if any of that grant money could have been used towards that.
I'll field that question first, and then I'll kick it to Wendy. We have not yet gotten word on our waiver. We were supposed to get word June 1st, August 1st, and now it's at least November 1st. So that is a delay at the state. So we would not have been able to use that grant money that expired in June for a program that we don't even know about. We also were made aware of that the state allocated grant money to districts all districts, to purchase reading materials. I reached out today because we've been allocated $140,000, but we don't know whether the waiver is going through or not. So that will definitely impact what we would use that money for. So I'm on the reading committee, state reading committee, and reached out to the chair, and she really couldn't articulate that other than the grant is due October 31st, and they are considering pushing out the due date, because if you don't have your waiver by then, how will you know what to spend the money on? So Wendy, I know, has been doing many things as well with reading issues.
Yes, the only thing I would add to that update is that originally we were to hear about the waiver at the various dates that Maureen just went through. And then we were going, if the waiver is denied, we were going to be implementing the new chosen program for next year, fall of 2024. The state has said that that will be delayed till the fall of 2025 because of these other delays. So now we're likely not looking at implementation for next year if we have to make a big change. Although if it's not a huge change, we could make the revision once we know about the waiver. So I did share with the curriculum committee tonight that we hadn't gotten word and that I would give an update to that committee as word gets in, hopefully by November 1st now.
Okay, thank you both so much. And again, thank you for all the updates that you've done around the district. I'm sure the kids and the staff and everyone are enjoying them. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Okay, so now we roll on.
We roll on to John Wallace. Lou's limited to what he can say because it is the silent period, but I've asked him to just give the board a general update about what's happening with the project, the proposed project.
Good evening, everyone. The good news is everything is going along as hoped. All of the milestones along the way that we had to meet with the state, worked with the town to get a successful question posed on the ballot for November have happened. All the finishing touch work that happens is just the wordsmithing of the referendum question is really, I think, the only task still left to do that's there. So everything is full speed ahead. It will be on the ballot November 6th, November 7th, whatever the election day is. And the concept of the project has not changed. There's been no rethinking or reworking of the numbers. The cost estimates have been steady and are in a good spot. And the decisions that will be made, really everything kicks into gear, presuming the referendum passes in November. Until then, there will not be a lot of activity between now and second week of November on this. And the dollar amount was slightly higher than what we had originally proposed. Town manager was supportive of having a little bit of a cushion in the project. So the question is going to go out at $10,997,000. And, nothing is an issue at this point. So. Okay. Danielle?
So if I'm reading this correctly, I just want to make sure so that people, like as a voter, I'm going to be voting on this. So the cost of the project, and if you can't answer this because it's a quiet period or whatever you said, then just say you can't answer it. So it looks like I'm reading this that the cost is, and I'm rounding up $11 million, but we're only asking for the bond amount to be 55 million because the rest will be taken care of by grants. Am I reading that correctly or no?
Correct. Right. The rate that's been assigned to the project is 57.14% of qualified expenses. And inevitably, there will be something that's excluded from the grant calculation because of all the statutory provisions. So at a 50% of that gross amount, 5,500,000, has a 7-point margin for potential exclusions. Don't know exactly where that'll be. I don't think it'll be that high, but that creates that ability for the town not to bond any more than they've set out. So they're at half the dollar amount. We should be in good shape.
So once it's not the quiet period or whatever you called it, like we need to like get that message out. Right, because people are going to read the first line and be like, what? Because people don't like to continue to read. So I think we just need to, as a board, make sure we get that information out to the public.
Very good.
If I could comment on the quiet period, although that wouldn't be awfully quiet of me. It really is about, as a district employee, I can't promote the project at this point. The board certainly can. That there will be a mailing provided by the town. That's part of any referendum that will explain what the cost is, what the voters are voting on. And people can certainly ask about that, but your point is well taken that it could get confusing if folks don't understand the project cost versus what the taxpayers will actually have to be involved with. But the board is certainly free to share that information. And again, I'll be putting out information simply about the upcoming referendum and that sort of thing. And but more than that, I'm really restricted at this time.
Mr. Brando.
Is it confirmed that the town is sending out a mailer to every household? Because that didn't happen the last time.
It happened last time, but it was like the size of a postage stamp. This time I believe it's going to be, have you seen it, Lou? It's supposed to be a regular size document. But I can't say that they're.
Only absentee got it for Anna Reynolds.
Oh, really? Okay. Then let me check with James Krupinski to verify that. My understanding is there would be an informational piece sent out to all voters, but I will verify that.
Go ahead.
So just to clarify, I could go home tonight if I wanted to, and as post on Facebook, this is like, I'm allowed to, because I don't have like a hush order.
No, because you're a citizen that can speak about it.
Go ahead.
I support this project.
Any other questions? Okay, we can roll on to the next one.
She's on her plane. She's on a plane. All right, there's just a there is a memo in your packet relative to an overview of the budget process. I know that won't affect some of you, but but it does restate our vision, mission, portrait of graduate, because I want the board to know that anything we put forth for next year's budget will be deeply aligned to that mission and vision for the district. And this also gets into just general procedures about our budget process. I'll go back to the top. I just was explaining all those pieces. Basically, this summarizes that we start the process. Essentially, we started a conversation about next year's budget today already. So, but some of the landmarks are this memo going out within the next few weeks, and then various milestones such as meeting with principals and other administrators, board meetings, as you are all very aware, and then my presentation to the Board of Ed, my proposed budget on February 7th. From there, there'll be board workshops to discuss the process. And then ultimately it goes before the town in a presentation in March. Date has not been set yet. And from there, there's just dialogue with the ending date sometime in April. So I didn't know if anyone had any questions, but this is not anything new for this year. Continuation of previous processes. Okay. Should I just keep going, Dr. Fletcher?
Go right ahead.
You guys are upsetting me. Future agenda items, these are just proposed for the board, but just so the board has a picture of some of the milestone events that we have every year, such as honors and resolutions. And then there also are mention of the board's organizational meeting on the 14th and subsequent reports that typically happen throughout the year. So just a review, and nothing more to say about that. We do need to, actually, there should have been a motion in there. There was, I do have a request for a change to that schedule. All right, there it is. We are having a outgoing board member meeting on November 1st. I'm proposing that we cancel the October 25th board meeting because we're going to meet collectively to honor outgoing members as well as the Teacher of the Year. And I would also like to move the February 14th board meeting to Wednesday, February 21st. I will be out of state at a conference, and plus I was thinking people might not want to come to a board meeting on Valentine's Day, but mainly because I won't be in the state. So I would turn that over to you, Dr. Fletcher, for any motions.
Okay. Mr. Rose.
It's okay. Should we do it now?
Oh, my apologies. Oh, it was in the wrong spot? Okay, my apologies.
Okay, it's a good time to deal with it.
All right. Move the Newington Board of Education cancel the Wednesday, October 25th, 2023 Board of Education meeting and move the Wednesday, February 14th, 2024 Board of Education meeting to Wednesday, February 21st, 2024.
All right, the motion is made. Do I have a
Second.
second? We have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Michael Branda,
Yes.
Danielle Droz,
Yes.
Dr. Bruce Fletcher,
Yes,
I'm sorry, Beth Mackey Wagner.
here you go, Doc.
All right.
Yes.
Richard LeVerrier. Richard LeVerrier. Amy Parati,
Yes.
Jessica, Anastasia Yap.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Very good.
And
Now, we are going to go,
backwards one.
we're going to go to number 6 or number 7. Oh, yeah, we've already covered 6.
Yeah, my apologies. I jumped ahead. I was so eager to reschedule board meetings. This
You
is,
jumped ahead, I skipped. So,
my apologies. This is also typical for the year where board members are assigned to or offered the opportunity to go to a PTO meeting at a school. Some of these may actually transpire after the election, so we may need to make some adjustments, but currently this is the schedule. It's in your packet as well as on the board. So if you are unable to make it, just let Sophie know, or if it does come after the election and those of you that aren't running again, we will reassign it or offer it up to a new board member. So I'll turn it back to you.
okay,
for anything.
so before I give you an opportunity, I want to make a statement regarding our role as board members at PTA or any of these meetings. We are only there as guests. We're not there to run the meeting or give direction to them. If they have questions, then we can give them answers if we have answers for them. But it is not our role to get involved in the meeting itself. So I just want to reiterate that to anyone that is going to be attending one of these meetings. Go ahead.
Yes, as a former PTO, well, I guess I'm still on the PTO, but I always found it very great when board members came. On at least Anna Reynolds and Kellogg, there is a agenda item for board members to give remarks. What's going on at the table, especially during budget season, and have them there to ask questions. So I think it's really great for us to go to these meetings and just show that we do care about what's going on at the schools and care about the parents that are volunteering their time to make the schools a better place. And I also have an administrative question. I know some principals will send an invite directly. If we don't get one, are we to reach out, or can principals be reminded to send an email?
And yes, we will remind them, and that is what they're supposed to do, but we will remind them to do so.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, very good. So we've already done number 8?
Yes.
Okay. So now we've come to agenda item E9, and this is discussion and possible action on the contract negotiation strategy between the Board of Education, Town of Newington, and the Newington Teachers Association. We will be going into executive session to discuss this. So at this time, I'm going to ask for a motion to go into executive session.
Motion to move to executive session.
Second that.
Second.
Right. And before we take the vote on that, I just want to invite Dr. Brummett Steve Farisi, Lou Jacomowitz, and Suzanne. She's the intern for the superintendent, so I'm welcoming her to come into the meeting to observe, to see how we do that. So any board members that are online currently, you need to leave this Google Meet. You cannot keep it open. You have to leave it and then open up the executive session. And at this time, I want to thank everybody here for your participation thus far, and we will ask everyone to please leave the room. Once it's over, you're more than welcome to come back in. Thank you again for participating.
Oh, Tiffany Fox.
Is she online? Okay, so Tiffany, I'm going to welcome you in as well, Tiffany Fox.
All right. I'll pass
All right.
the word along.
So all board members in favor of going into executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. So be it. We are now going into executive session. And again, if you're online, please leave that meeting. We'll take 5 minutes.
Regular meeting is next. Leave the call.
I'm out.
That was cute.
But yeah, we really have.
Very romantic.
Yeah. Late night. Sure.
Oh, Steve, does Wendy know she can leave? Okay, thank you. I meant to say that.
Okay, well now.
I should have told her she needs to stay.
Well, you can. You're the board chair.
No, I won't do that to her. She's got enough stress on her right now.
These folks should be seeing, anyone that's still online should be seeing that on the screen, executive session in progress.
Okay.
Then they would use which microphone.
So here we'll leave.
Anastasia, can you hear us?
Yeah, but the other meeting is on here.
No, we have to dial it down.
I guess not.
Wait a minute.
But.
So we'll just pick one of them.
You're in the other meeting. You're not in your executive meeting. I can hear you.
Thank you, Damon.
You're welcome.
That's one of those. And then.
I never missed any of my kids. Up through 12th grade. I'd love to.
Okay, are we back? We're all set. So we are now back in open session, public session. So at this time, we will entertain this motion.
Move the Board of Education approve the 2024 to 27 contract as written in the tentative agreement.
Second.
All right, so the motion is made and seconded. I'm going to ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Michael Miranda,
Yes.
Danielle Droz,
Yes.
Dr. Bruce Fletcher,
Yes.
Beth Mankey Hutt Wagner,
Yes.
Richard Laveriere. Thank you, Karen.
Nope.
Amy Parati,
Yes.
Anastasia Yap,
Yes.
We didn't hear you, Anastasia.
Yes. Can you hear me?
We do now.
motion passed unanimously 6-0.
All right, I want to thank you all very much for your participation in the executive session and taking care of this. That ends our new business. So at this time, we will move on to public participation on any matter related to board responsibilities. You can call in at 860-665-8659. If you are here in our Google Meet, you can raise your hand, the little icon there, and we can call on you. And I don't believe there's anyone in person here. So we limit your participation to 3 minutes. We ask that you would state your name and the street that you live on. And for your safety, we ask you not to give the street number. All right, doesn't look like we have any participation, so I'm going to now move on to remarks by board members. So if any board member wants to make any further remarks, we will open up the table for you. Go ahead, Ms. Parati.
I didn't get a chance to say it earlier because we moved quickly through the beginning, but I had the opportunity to attend convocation, the presentation during the day, but then I hung out afterwards and talking to teachers and staff that were there. Everyone greatly appreciated it and just felt like very good energy to start the school year. So everyone was very thankful and enjoyed the day. So hope we can do that again because it was very nice.
Mr. Branda.
I'll be quick, but just in regards to Mr. Santos, who came today about the buses, I think this has been something that I've tried to talk about for several years. And I think within the policy itself, I totally agree with the decisions that were made. So what I'm saying is not against like you saying, we have to move forward. But I do think that policy should be relooked at not in terms of whether or not the policy makes sense, but more so whether or not the policy fits the usage of the buses by students. And I know when we talked about the kindergartners, Dean Barnes did some reporting and talked about buses being full. And I have no doubt that there are some buses that are full, but I know for a fact that I am the last stop for the elementary school. And at least last year, it was definitely not full. And I think that it's a multi-layered problem in terms of parents not opting out when they drive their kids. And then also there's just the idea of a student lives off of New Britain Avenue, which is like a crazy busy street. And it's, it's 1.25 miles from John Wallace, but that distance is to me different than being enclosed 1.25 miles, like going, say within the Kellogg neighborhoods or E Green or something like that, right? So I just think, and this is probably not going to fall on your radar just because of timing, but maybe it's something for Jessica in the future. I don't know if we have time. So I just would love to see some sort of just full audit of how many students are sitting on the bus in the morning and in the afternoon on each bus, like give it a couple of weeks, right? Because just looking at the details in this packet, it's pretty far. And like you think about today's weather, right? Like that, if there's a seat on the bus and it's literally across the street, I think we can figure out ways to be accommodating to the people that are closer to the edge. I'm not saying we, minimize the 1.75 down to like 1 mile, but I think if it's 1.68, but it's really just go across the street and there's actually 7 seats on the bus, I feel like we can do better. The policy is very old. It's over 20 years old when it was originally written. We've done some great work, or your committee has done great work actually, on just revisiting some of those policies. And I would just love to see some sort of actual collaboration with Mr. Barnes, the policy committee, and maybe some parents, because I'm sure you get a bunch of people who make requests and they're probably very similar to this, just in terms of the distance and the concern of the walk. Because the only thing I'll say is I understand, like, if there's sidewalks, it totally makes sense. I understand that we say, well, there's sidewalks, it should be safe, but I just want to reiterate that not every walk is the same sidewalk or not. And I think that that's just something that we should look at.
You? Ms. Young?
Yes, I kind of would like to echo what Mr. Branda said, although I don't have a packet in front of me or anything. Just listening to the details of there being a bus across the street, directly across from where he lives. I can't remember if he said Hartford, I'm not sure. But I mean, I would like to think, just like weather today, that we could maybe, if there's extra space, I know there was a little bit of confusion on whether, his daughter, I guess, or someone went, was able to get on the bus or not. But I would like to look at that data as well. I mean, I know that I said that this might happen when we allowed, the kindergartners that live very close to the school to get on the bus, that this might become like a domino effect. And, we piloted it and it it worked. But now I'm not going to say I told you so, but I knew this was something that was going to happen, because when you allow someone who lives that close to take a bus, now you have someone who legitimately can say, it was pouring today. It's like a hurricane kind of thing. And I live 30 minutes away, but then you have others who live 2 minutes away or 5 minutes away, and they're getting a bus. I mean, obviously they're younger, the difference, there's an age difference, but I would like to see that data also, because I mean, I don't have an older child yet, but 30 minutes in something like today, and I mean, yes, you know where you buy your house, you know how far it's going to be, but like 30 minutes in weather like today, if the bus was empty, I would hope. And I obviously know for safety reasons, you have to be, account for who's on the bus. But I have to agree with Mr. Branda, and, hopefully we can look at that soon and look at that data and try to figure out, are these seats taken? Are they not? If it's across the street, is this an issue? And, what we can really do to just help the students? Because we obviously want to make sure, I know the father mentioned that there were some different type of people that were in the area. I just want to make sure everyone's safe. And like he said, a New Britain Avenue, which I live near, close to, is a very different walk than, a smaller neighborhood. So thank you, Mr. Branda, for bringing that up. And I would love to see the same information that you're requesting. Thank you.
I just want to make it clear that, and I'm not going to speak for everybody at this table. I know, Anastasia, you weren't here and you don't have the packet, but I didn't get the sense that in any way the kindergarten pilot has anything to do with this. I think this has been a conversation that's been going on for years, just in terms of the stretch of distance. And specifically, it's, in my opinion, every time I've spoken to a fellow parent that has students in Newington, it's been about the distance, but also the type of walk, not so much the distance, but just what the student has to go through in terms of, maybe you're carrying an instrument and a Chromebook and you're going up New Britain Avenue. And yes, we have crossing guards and things like that, but I think it's more about just the nature of their experience. And I don't think that the kindergarten pilot honestly has anything to do with it, because I think it's been pretty consistent for at least since I've been on the board for 6 years that this has been a conversation. And that's why I just think, when Mr. Barnes came here, he had a lot of work to do, and he's managed the bus and the transportation group really well. And I think now that we're having these conversations again, I just think it's worth looking into, but I don't want to get into a situation where we're attaching something that we did for, 5 and 6 year olds to this issue, because I don't think that they are one and the same.
Right, thank you. Anyone else care to make comments? Go ahead.
Just wanted to say, from talking to students and parents and teachers alike, this is our third week and it's been an awesome start to the school year. When I drive past the elementary school closest to me and drop off my son, the teachers are so excited to welcome the kids. The kids are excited to go inside. And just listening to our representatives from the high school tonight, there's already this buzz of activity and excitement starting again. It's just like a really wonderful, positive feeling. And so I just thank, obviously, the educators for coming out and showing up with that beautiful attitude, and everybody at central office who's worked all summer to pave the path. So thank you for starting us off.
Great, thank you all very much.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye. We are officially adjourned.